Hi everybody and welcome to round 2 of the carsales ARG eSport Cup to you tonight from the virtual Zolder in the virtual Belgium. I am the very real Aaron Noonan, he's the very real Tony D'Alberto, and let's get through the contractual obligations first. Podium finisher in the Bathurst 1000, Super 2 Series champion, Australian Endurance champion, and runner-up in last year's carsales TCR Australia Series.
Very kind, Noonan.
You
Thank
happy?
you very much. Very happy, thank you. Yep.
Now, I'm happy to be with you because this is going to be a whole pile of fun tonight. Last week was round 1 at Mount Panorama Bathurst, where we let some 50 cars and drivers loose in virtual Audis, and well, we had a virtual car park there a couple of times, not just on the track in the racing, but with the technical issues as well, which I think we're good tonight though.
Fingers crossed, fingers crossed. We did see some fantastic racing though, and that's what we're excited about and looking forward to tonight. When it was actually going really well, the racing was great.
Now, we're drawn drivers from all sorts of categories, so let's take you through where they've come from for tonight's second round of the series. From the TCR Australia Series, the TCR New Zealand Series, Touring Car Masters, S5000, Trans Am, and the Kumo V8 Touring Car Series. So it's a wide bunch of drivers who come from all sorts of different disciplines, some of them with plenty of experience in terms of virtual racing and sim racing, some of them with pretty much not much at all. But when you talk about big stars, let's have a look at some of the big star names that you'll see tonight. Garth Tanner, of course, a supercars champion, 3-time Bathurst 1000 winner. Pretty handy in a sim though for a guy in his 40s.
Yeah, we didn't actually expect that because Garth hasn't spent much time at all in a simulator. But hey, he's a racer, he's raced all his life, and it's true that it translates onto the sim racing. Last
year's carsales TCR Australia Series champion Will Brown is in the field again, and Aaron Seaton, the third generation star. My big issue with Aaron Seaton is wondering what gear is he going to wear, because I saw on socials last week before round 1, he must have been in Glenn's cupboard because he wheeled out a Ford Credit race suit, GSR red, white and blue helmet. Who knows what he could do tonight?
Look, I think he might keep the same helmet, but Glenn's wardrobe would be massive. So I'm really looking forward to that as well. Really, really good driver, as you've said. Whether it translates to online racing, we're not sure yet.
He does know how to drive an Audi touring car though, because he did have a going one at Queensland Raceway last year. Some more stars in the Sims tonight. James Golding, of course, who's been a winner in S5000, a supercars full-timer for some time. Chelsea Angelo, very experienced now in a bunch of categories in TCR and Porsche racing and open wheelers. But for me, the guy that a lot of our Australian fans might not know is on the right of screen, Ash Sutton, the 2017 British touring car champion, and last week he won at Mount Panorama. He's never been there for real, but he's been there virtually and he won.
Yeah, he won the first race. He put a huge amount of pressure on Dylan O'Keefe, got him right near the end of the race and just managed to edge away. So fantastic to see how he went at Bathurst for the first time. And that's the thing tonight at Zolder, no other driver has actually driven there in real life that I know of.
Have you been to Belgium?
No, never. So it's going to be a first for everybody.
There's a bunch of young drivers who are not very experienced in terms of their real resumes, but in terms of the gamer world and virtual world, I reckon they've done some laps. Dylan O'Keefe's a guy I'm looking for tonight. Of course, he's been a winner last year in TCR. He drives for Gary Rogers Motorsport in their Renault program. Jay Hansen, have a look at that photo. He can't be old enough to hold a racing licence, can he? He looks about 10. Harley Haber's probably 11, 12 with the sunglasses. These guys are really impressive. They'll be fast tonight.
They were fast last week, so very much looking forward to them. They must spend a lot of time on these sims, so they either don't have a life or they certainly don't have kids, put it that way. So they're very impressive on a sim, and last week was proof of that.
Let's take a look at the venue for tonight. Round 2 at the Zolder circuit in Belgium, which once upon a time hosted the Grand Prix. It's 4 kilometres, it's 16 turns, 3 chicanes for them to bounce through. So it's really 12 turns because you count 3 turns for each chicane. They're all driving the Audi RS3 LMS tonight. Those hot spots there, they're the danger zones that we've picked for this circuit. The chicanes, naturally, the first corner and the second corner are probably corners that we're going to see some issues. But look, I saw what happened last week. There were some big shunts. There was big carnage. So I've made some modifications to the track map. And as you can see, I think the hot spots are pretty much anywhere with a bit of bitumen, really.
Well, last week at Bathurst is anything to go by. Cars crashed in a straight line. So at one point there, we saw about 20 cars in pit lane getting repaired. The only thing here tonight at Zolder, there's a little bit more runoff either side of the bitumen. So I'm hoping that will give the drivers a little bit more opportunity to actually complete laps. Because Will Brown, for instance, last week didn't complete one lap all night.
He's been complaining about it for the last 6
we've
nights.
heard about it a lot. So.
Let's have a look at the format for round 2, Tony. And at the moment, qualifying is underway. It's a 20-minute session that will determine the grid for the first of our 2 races tonight, which will be a 30-minute race. And then we're going to reverse the field. So 20th goes to pole. The winner of race 1 goes to 20th. That'll spice it up.
I did spice it up. And we saw some drivers last week that didn't qualify that well, but they had good race pace, and in the second race there, they're actually able to stay there. So it certainly mixed up the order, and those really fast guys trying to come through from 20th position, it was fantastic racing.
I can't wait to see what unfolds tonight for round 2 of the carsales ARG eSport Cup. Qualifying's underway. We'll join the track in just a moment, but in the meantime, here's a message from our friends at carsales.
This is how I'd sell a car. Proper marketing. Oh, put effort into your photos. Value your car appropriately. Like $500, I don't know, take it. I hate it. It's got beautiful signalers. You can put CDs in there. The right pedal goes all the way down, and it's got, it's a gear shift, and it's a stick shift. Sold. Wait, shouldn't this be in the car?
Cars are on the track for qualifying for this second round of the carsales ARG eSport Cup. We are racing tonight at Circuit Zolder, which is a circuit in Belgium. Tony D'Alberto is alongside me. Plenty of time on the clock here, TD, for drivers to set some fast times ahead of race 1, which comes up, which is a 30-minute race tonight, and race 2 will be a reverse top 20. And let's hope everybody's a bit better behaved this week than they were this time 7 days ago.
Yeah, we saw a lot of action at the previous round of Bathurst, but we've been watching a little bit of practice, and some of the regular contenders are still up the front. Nathan O'Hearn at the moment is right at the front of qualifying, and he was really, really quick in practice. Very different style of track, this one as well. We can see these chicanes that guys are going through now, guys and girls, I should say. We've got Chelsea Angelo on board with us this week, this race as well. So it's basically as much curb as you can get away with without getting a penalty, and that's how you get a quick lap around here.
We're following car 117, the Burson Auto Parts entry, and it's Ben Bargwana behind the wheel tonight. I've never sung happy birthday to a driver in commentary ever, but we can today. I won't sing the full thing. He turns 19 today. It was his dad's turn tonight to race, but because it's his birthday, dad out, son in, happy birthday. He gets to have another run this week.
I hope Jace actually still bought him a present, though. That's a little
This is the present. This is the present.
You know. Yeah, it's great to see Ben behind the wheel, and we're going to see him actually behind the wheel later this year as well at the Bathurst International race. So I bet he spent quite a bit of time driving the sim compared to Jason. So it'll be interesting to see how the Burson Audi can go tonight.
So keeping an eye on the times at the moment, and the best time that we're looking for, as you mentioned before, Nathan Hearn's the pace man, and he comes in leading the points after round 1 last week for that opening round. Matt Parra, big accident up in front. Have a look down the road there. I saw a flash of fluoro yellow flying through the air. I'm not sure that that's how that's supposed to be.
Definitely not how it's actually meant to be there. We'll just we'll wait for a little replay. I'd like to actually see what happens.
Here we go. Let's have a look again. So I think this may be Aaron Seaton, who, by the way, is wearing a Glen PJ suit at home on the Gold Coast tonight. He's getting right into the spirit of wearing the gear. Follow him on social to see what he's wearing every week when he's doing this racing. And now this is a little issue that we're going to find. That's at the Klein chicane at turn 5. And if you go too far across to the left, you're going to hit the the wall that you can't quite fully see.
Yeah, the magical wall. But I think we've got a little trigger in the studio here. So if somebody...
Did you press the button that time?
Yeah. I know Aaron quite well, and I just thought I'd just see how strong his car is to take that impact. But I can assure you Aaron's okay, and he's behind the wheel at home there with the race suit on. That was pretty cool on social media today.
Last week it was Ford Credit. Tonight it is PJ livery. So I don't know how many suits his dad Glenn's got in the cupboard at home, but he's going to work his way right through them. That's the other part of the circuit that's the issue. That's the Jackie Ick chicane at the last corner, and that wall to the left will bring you undone each and every time. Let's have a look again on the replay here. That is Ash Sutton, the Panther car, 116, the former British touring car champ, who won a race last week at Mount Panorama. This is the final little fast left-right kink that brings them onto the pit straight. And it's the wall that is waiting for you. If you get this curb wrong or you run a little wide, And you're out there, bang, there he is, and he wasn't the only one to do it. Will Brown in the background cleaned up. It's Nathan Morecambe, in fact, in car 11, and they cleaned up that exit wall. That's one to watch out for around this Zolder circuit.
That's going to catch a lot of drivers out tonight. You can see how they're cutting the curb quite a bit, and there's dirt on the road, so that's not helping the situation at all.
Having a look here at Bret Holdsworth, of course, raced in Trans Am in Adelaide. He's representing really the Trans Am drivers. We've drawn the pilots from the various ARG categories for this car sales ARG eSport Cup. There's drivers from TCR Australia, TCR NZ, from Trans Am, from Touring Car Masters, the Kumo V8 Touring Car Series, S5000. We've got drivers from all of those categories racing in the field of 40 tonight on this Zolder circuit. Just over 11 and a half minutes left to go in this qualifying session. We jump on board with Bret Holdsworth in the TPS group, number 99 Audi. This is down at the very, very, very tight turn 8 that brings them back through the Jochen-Rindt. Little quick left-right, no lifting there, chicane before they come onto the pit straight. It's named in honour of Jackie Ickx, the 1977 Bathurst 1000 winner with Alan Moffat, probably more famous around the world for winning Le Mans about 5 billion times though.
Very interesting style of circuit, one that we don't really have here and simulates this sort of style of track. So it's going to be interesting tonight to see how the drivers actually adapt to this circuit and how much time they've actually spent on the sim in between last week to prepare themselves. Now, I actually have spoken to a couple of the drivers only yesterday, and they hadn't spent any time on the sim yet at all. So either today was a really lonely day in the sim, trying to get some laps, or they're going to be off the pace tonight.
Looking at Harley Haber here in the number 21 Kumo entry, of course, he's racing under the V8 banner because he has done a round of that series and was planning to do a bit of that series this year. Of course, at the moment we're in virtual racing world. He's one of the young guns I gave hard time to in the intro to the show tonight because he's unbelievably young looking. But you know what it is about these young drivers? When it comes to the sim stuff, they're just on it. They live on these things all the time and play the game. So he's the fast driver so far, 1:33.735. Nathan Hearn, the series leader, is second fastest so far. James Golding's next in the mix. Then Nick Carroll, Timothy McReynolds, who is he's a mechanic in your Wall Racing TCR Honda program. So he's flying the flag for the Spanner Twirlers. Here he is in car 38. And I love jumping on board with these cars because you get a bit of a gauge as to how they're going in relation to the car in front. Remember that this is an Audi RS3 LMS front-wheel drive, turbocharged, 2-litre. This is the run down past the back of the pits. This is the chicane to watch out for. This is the turn 5 Klein chicane, and it's the curb on the right that really unsettles the cars. We saw them in practice leaping out of the track and really getting into real drama. This is the left-hand sweeper, turn 6. This is the corner. It didn't have a chicane back then, where the great Gilles Villeneuve lost his life in 1982. Right there to the left, a chicane was put in after that incident. Remember, this is formerly the home of the Belgian Formula One Grand Prix in the 70s and in the 80s, and I've got 9 million Zolder facts tonight.
You do.
There will be a test in between races if you remember all of these.
It's super impressive. I'm just going to have a little read.
No.
Okay. Now, you would have said, we saw in practice tonight a lot of the drivers trying to explore how much curb they could actually use. So hopefully they've sort of got that out of their system. They understand the curbs they can get away with, the curbs that they can't, and the curbs that, they can really straight line and get that speed out of the car.
Having a look at car 75, Garth Tanner, 4th fastest so far, 1:31. Tonight he is racing from the Melbourne Performance Centre workshop in the outer suburbs of Melbourne. So he's driving the virtual Audi. He's raced for that team before in TCR Australia, and he's based at their workshop tonight on their sim. If that's not getting right among the action with your race team, I don't know what is.
A very nice sim, though, from SimWorks. Speaking with Garth, he was talking about the Grand Prix earlier this year and did quite a few laps on the sim before he went to the Grand Prix. We all know that he put it on pole at the Grand Prix. The time that he was doing on the sim compared to what he did on circuit was within 1/10.
And they learned some things that they played around with to try to get the sim right in line with what they were doing on the track at Albert Park. So it's great to have Garth in the field tonight. He sits in P4 in this qualifying session with just under 8 minutes left to go, so there's plenty of time. And remember that these cars, these Audis, they're front-wheel drive, rear tyre temperature. Takes a while to get that rubber up to heat and up to temperature. So remember, they're also burning down fuel in this session, so they'll go faster and faster. And from the experience that we have, from some of the knowledge of this racing, it's probably going to take 5 or 6 laps before they nail their fastest time because of the fuel burning out of these cars.
Yeah, the fuel burn obviously is a big problem, but also, they're going to have to get rear tyre temperature, but without trying to hurt the front tyres. So that's the real trick. You sort of got to try and get the rears up, but still have the fronts with heaps of grip still available and burn down that fuel. So we're expecting the fastest laps maybe 5-6 laps into their actual run on a tyre set.
Love seeing these cars launch this chicane. This is a cracker. There's Garth Tanner, followed through by Jay Hansen, car 41, Trent Harrison in the Winchester car, and then this long sweeper. This is turn 6. This is really fast. Up to another chicane. They put a lot of chicanes in here at Zolder over the year, but the curbs, they're quite mean, and if you don't get them on the right angle, you are going to bounce one of these cars way out of line. As we have a look here at Jay Hansen in that livery that he's driven in the Alfa Romeo. A brief appearance in TCR so far for him, but he's a young guy who is going places and has raced in Formula Ford last year. He's been very solid in karts. He
was very solid at the opening test earlier this year. So I know they've done tests on Christmas, but the first official test of the year in the Alpha, he was right up there, which I thought was really impressive for a guy that hasn't spent a lot of time in any car, really. I mean, he's too young to almost probably have his road license. So
I tell you what, he's setting some pace here tonight. He is right in the times of the moment. He's just jumped to 4th on that last time around, 1 minute 34.0, still 3/10 away from Harley Haber with the benchmark. Just under 6 minutes to go in this qualifying session. If you've just joined us, this is round 2 of the carsales ARG eSport Cup from the circuit Zolder in Belgium. There will be a test on the Zolder facts at the end of the evening. This is a track that, if you've been planning to make a trip to this track, well, this is tight. Mike Sinclair, the car sales car, not making it easy for Jay Hansen to get on by. He's going to get a bit of a return serve, and he cops one off the road. That's not the way to treat the series sponsors car.
Absolutely not. Now, Jay should apologise to Mike there, because Mike's the one that brings car sales to the championship.
Let's have a look on the replay, the Total replay here, TD. Hansen with a big run on the back of the car sales entry. He goes to the left, and I don't reckon he probably knew that he was there, and then there was a bit of contact on the way through, and we ended up with all sorts of drama. So, hey, we've got a range of drivers, and there's the finish off. Was that Garth who ended up sending the car 4 around? We might beam our way up to Queensland and dial in and have a chat with Will Brown, the reigning car sales TCR Australia Series champion, who is pedalling his way around. Have you got me there, Will?
Yeah, I've got you. Gotcha.
How are you travelling so far in this qualifying session?
I am P22, so I was 44th last time, so I've halved it. So hopefully by next week, we'll be up to 11th.
If you're 44th tonight, mate, we're in big trouble, okay? Because I think there's only 40 cars on the grid.
He's in big trouble, yeah.
I'm in big trouble no matter what, I think.
Really important tonight, mate. This is a track that you've never been to in your racing career. You've done very minimal laps on the sim at this track. Have you learnt it already? Are there little places? Where do you need to find your time?
I don't know. I need to find a second. I think I need to find time everywhere. But no, it's a cool track. I'm really enjoying it. Just been trying to do some laps. I got Chelsea in front of me here, so I might just tag her into this corner and take her out, and we'll keep going from there.
At least you're honest about it.
Oh,
no, I'm having some fun.
Somebody was spinning on your side there.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's just down there at that corner. If you take it wrong, it's sort of like an imaginary wall takes you out. So you got to be a bit careful, but it should be good.
We've actually got a switch in the studio, mate, so behave yourself. We'll flick it on for you, mate.
I must be liked. I haven't done it yet.
Maybe after this. Tell us about the circuit. What's tricky? We've obviously spoken about the chicanes, but there's quite a few undulating corners as well.
Yeah, it's a bit different. Like, you got to really make sure your exits are good. That's what I've noticed. So I'm trying to get out of I seem to be rushing it a bit, all the chicanes, and then I get a bad exit out. So I'm just trying to sort that out. But man, some of the guys are extremely quick on the sims around here. So I'm amateur. I don't even know what I'm doing. Oh, and that's just going to slow me down.
This week, though, you're going to do more than one lap, and then you're not going to end up on your roof.
Well, I'm hoping so as well, but I can't promise anything.
All right, we'll let you get back to it. There he is,
Thank
Will
you.
Brown, the reigning carsales TCR Australia Series champ. He is position 22 on our timing screens at the moment. 2.5 minutes left to go in qualifying, and that is our wall that we mentioned. It's just gone to the top of the times, 1:33.321, and he's in the fence.
So that, what happens there with the time? It gets taken away?
No, he's just got to go again, but
Righto.
he's running out of time to get around and to turn another lap. James Golding here, that Valvoline, number 31. You know what I mean. He's position 3 at the moment.
I love that livery, how it's actually translated from the S5000
yeah,
over to the Audi there.
Hey, speaking of liveries, there's a blue 17 out there too, by the way.
Yep.
It's a true blue 17. We'll see a little bit of Jet Johnson in this one. I've just had a text from the great man.
Dickie.
Dick Johnson is tuned in tonight watching his
Good.
grandson pedaling around, and at the moment he is sitting on our timing screens, position number 24 at the moment. So he's
Not bad.
middle of the field. Jet's a young bloke. He's only 15 years of age. He's been driving in Excels up in Queensland. Of course,
Yep.
I think a lot of people follow him on social media to see what he's getting up to. He got the world's worst haircut the other day from what I saw. A
That was
serious bowl
hilarious. I
haircut.
like
That's one of the tough things about isolation these
Here he
days.
is.
You get a family haircut. Here he is, the full throttle custom garage 17 car. Can he find some more time?
Oh.
Someone's shed a wheel there in the background. He manages to get away from that, and that was Tom Randall we're hearing who had that issue here. But Jet's driving from the Johnson family home on the Gold Coast. Stephen, his dad, is, I guess, race engineer tonight, isn't he, really?
Not a bad bloke to have on the headset for you.
It's pretty good lineage that they've got there for this sort of racing. At the moment, his best lap times are 1:35.0, so he's about 1.6, 1.7 seconds away from the fast pace at the moment. But when you consider that there's a second covering the top 11, he's not that far away from the top 10.
Certainly not. And you can see the car, the amount of attitude it has on the corner. So these cars aren't typically easy to drive. Using a lot of curb there.
That's slow. That's the slow way through.
I think he just overcommitted himself on the entry and then had to use a lot of the curb, the second part there. But as I was saying, the cars move around a lot in the entry, so it makes it quite tricky sometimes. Where you're aiming the car, you might not actually end up there by the end of the braking zone.
Always a bit of a problem where you don't end up where you thought you were going to end up. The checkered flag's about to come out to bring to an end this qualifying session, round 2 of the carsales ARG eSport Cup, and Ash Sutton, he's the man, the former British Touring Car champion, is on top, 1:33.321. He takes pole position for tonight's first race. And in fact, we talked just before about Jet Johnson. Let's dial in and have a chat to the young third generation gun. Hey, Jet, it's Aaron Noonan. You got me there, mate?
Yep, loud and clear.
Tell me, though, before we talk about car racing, I saw the haircut you got on social media this week. Not a good one. Have you had it fixed up or what?
Nah, not yet. Gonna have to get that shaved soon.
Yeah, okay. You need to do some work there. Hey, position 25 in qualifying. You happy there?
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. It's the first time I've raced these TCR cars, but it's mainly about fun. But yeah, I'm happy with 25th.
All right, mate. Tell Dad if he's giving you a hard time to just back off, hey? Okay?
Yeah, I will.
Good man. There he is, Jet Johnson beaming in from Queensland. He's going to start position 25 in tonight's carsales ARG eSport Cup. And TD, I've got a feeling we're going to hear a lot more of that young fellow in the years to come.
No doubt. With that surname, he's bound to be at the front in every category that he tries his hand at. Those guys have got so much experience in motorsport. So we're not far away now from race 1. Looking at some of the guys that really impressed me in that session. Trent Harrison, P5. That's absolutely fantastic. And I think we're actually going to have a chat with Ash Sutton.
Let's head to the UK. The former British Touring Car champ is on the line. Ash Sutton, you're in pole position here. Come on, you've got to let some of these Aussies and Kiwis have a go. This is hogging it.
I was just turning up the wick, you know. It's saving it for the last few laps. But yeah, look, it's a tough track. The off tracks are hard around here. I don't know if you caught it, but I hit the invisible wall. So yeah, there was more left in it. But we're about to go green, so here we go.
All right, good luck,
we'll
mate.
Get out of your ear. All the best. There he is, our pole man. Ash Sutton ready to go. Race 1, round 2 of the carsales ARG eSport Cup from Circuit Zolder in Belgium. 40 drivers are keen and on their way down to turn number 1. Let's see if they make it all through, because it tightens up through the first left-hander before they get to a double apex right. There's Mike Sinclair down the back in the carsales entry. Pretty good so far. One in the background pinballing on their way through there, but everybody else pretty well behaved.
Very well behaved. And this circuit, because there's a little bit more room either side of the racetrack, unlike Bathurst, we might see cars get away with going off the circuit or coming together, all those sorts of things. So I think tonight's racing we won't see quite as many accidents, but I could be wrong.
Famous last words. You just put the commentator's curse on the entire.
That's okay. I'm not
field.
driving. I'm not driving
Look,
tonight.
No, that's the way to get around it. Ben McMillan there in the Michelin car. He's right in the middle of the pack there. And it's bumper to bumper, nose to tail. Tim Brooks involved in a bit of incident there. That's Will Brown, who's been turned around out the chicane. That's at turn 5. There's a bit of chaos. That's Aaron Seaton's involved as well, as they all try to find their way through and get rolling again.
I did talk too soon, didn't I?
I told you not to do that.
Every time.
The commentator's curse is a thing. I tell you, who else is a thing? Ash Sutton's got the lead and he's breaking away. There's the margin already back to Jay Hansen. James Golding next, then Dylan O'Keefe in that white number 33 car. Fighting with, this is close. Nick Carroll down the inside and lunging.
Garth Tanner.
Garth Tanner will not be impressed with that one. That was on the run down through turn 8. They come through the Jochen Rindt S's. It's a fast, flat-out section. Before the final chicane, watch for the wall on the left. A couple of them came a cropper in qualifying. And if you get a bit too eager, that wall is ready and waiting. End of lap 1. Sutton leads the way. 2-second margin. Back to Jay Hansen. Then it's Golding, O'Keefe, Nathan Hearn, Jaden Ransley, Nick Carroll, Harley Haber. This is on here. This is willing stuff. Wide out off the grass. This is the run to turn 2. And we're on board with Harley Haber in that Kumo number 21.
He's got a nice little run up the inside, and he's going to get that position and hold it right there. We're going to see a lot of jostling here at the front all race. Now, bear in mind, at the moment, they've probably still got cold tyres, so they are moving around a little more than what they'd expect. As I said before, we're sort of predicting that lap 5, sort of 6, the car's going to be at their best, and then the tyres are going to go off the cliff after that.
It's going to be a big cliff too when you'll see them really struggle with the tyres. This is the curve I really love. Bouncing across the turn 5 chicane. To driver's right, it unsettles the car way too much. You've got to be unbelievably committed, but you've got to be pinpoint accurate or else it'll bounce you way out wide and then you lose the run. For a short track, it's 4 kilometres older, but there's plenty of undulation, a little bit of rise and fall that really makes it a whole pile of fun to race on and watch. We're looking at Dylan O'Keefe here, keeping the pressure on Nathan Hearn. And I think the position we need to keep an eye out for is P20. Remember, it's a reverse grid second race, so you finish 20th, you get the pole for our final race this evening. Looking here at Aaron Cameron in the Valvoline GRM entry. He's in the special position, P20 right now. I'm sure, though, he's not thinking of staying there. And as I say that, he's trying to make a move.
Michael Clemente there. He's trying to go around the outside. They made contact.
Yeah, that was willing. That was never going to happen. You can't go too wide through that final chicane sequence without something like that happening.
And this is what we see on online racing, guys that are probably just a little bit braver than what they would be in real life, because he probably would have backed out of that in real life, let's face it. So Clemente now has got another run on Aaron Cameron, and they go side by side. Pretty clean so far.
Remember what you said about commentator's curse. You've already nailed it. 1 from 1 tonight. Let's not go 2 from 2. Ash Sutton's lead is now 2.6 seconds back to James Golding. Clemente's under major. That's Cam Mason down the inside. Gerardo up in front, bouncing off the wall.
Tim McReynolds. Oh, John Martin.
John Martin, the Honda Civic driver in reality, but he's got a crashed Audi in the carsales ARG eSport Cup, and he's going to get cleaned up on the way through. Absolute carnage at Zolder. There goes Ben McMillan. He's around as well. Aaron Seaton picks his way through. They're unravelling in the mid-pack, my friend.
I wonder which Rondo car that was, whether it was Will Brown or Nathan Morecambe.
I think it may have been Nathan Morecambe. He's been down the tail of the field for most of the evening so far. That's the replay of what went wrong. McMillan nearly made it through, but then he hit the imaginary wall.
Yeah, that was pretty ugly. Unfortunately, we saw Johnny Martin crashes at Bathurst as well, so he won't be too happy with that. That was a big jump there getting sent, and Jet Johnson there also managed to get through the carnage unscathed, which was pretty skillful there, and he still keeps going. John Martin and Will Brown have been going on about how they're going to take each other out, so that's why I was wondering whether that was...
Yeah, Nathan Morecambe is the graphics show.
Maybe Nate's doing it for him.
Well, you know, it's always good to send someone in to do your tough work for you. Hey, the middle of the pack here, this is on. That's Harley Haber in the Kumo number 21 car. He's dropped down the pack. He was in the lead group a bit earlier on, but he's fighting with George Mediki, who's in the number 5 car. Aaron Cameron in the Valvoline number 18. Jet Johnson's in the mix. There he is in that blue number 17 car. This is really tight. The run through turn 4 that just crests a little rise, and then this turn 5 chicane, the little left-right sequence where you'll see when they hit the curb wrong, we won't need to tell you. You will know because of the way that the cars launch off that right-hand curb. But we've got the temperature set for this race tonight. It's 18 degrees ambient. It's 37 degrees on the track for this first race at Zolder. It's a timed race, and we've still got 24 minutes left, so we've only elapsed 6 minutes. Oh, Aaron Seaton off the road again, not having a good night. Maybe the PJ suit is a bad omen.
Yeah, maybe so. He's not having much fun at all, unfortunately. And as you mentioned there, the temperature is set. The setup of the car is all set. The only thing that can really change is the sim that the drivers are actually driving in. We've seen some drivers with these fancy sims, $30,000, $40,000 worth of machinery, and then some literally racing a PlayStation with very basic equipment, but they can still compete on a very level playing field. Got a bit of a change position there. Dylan O'Keefe and Nathan Hearn.
And Nathan Hearn's moved through to grab 3rd spot down at turn 1. This is the exit of turn 2. Looking back here at Cameron Mason, TCM competitor in that Brute 33 livery that he races on his Mustang in the TCM series. Let's have a look at a replay here. And this is the run down towards the final chicane to end the lap. That's Cam Mason in that Brute 133 livery car. Fast left-right chicane. Ah, yep, okay. That's the wall. It's coming. Wham! He's got it in the background there. Or did he get away with that?
Looks like he almost got away with it.
Surely he got concrete. Surely he's picking bits of concrete out of his teeth right now.
Definitely out of the rims, that's for sure. James Golding's doing a very good job there in position 2.
He's winning the Australian class.
He is actually, because Ash is absolutely taken off into the lead. But the race for 2nd and 3rd position is very hotly contested here, with a bunch of drivers all could take it out, and James Golding doing a fantastic job holding up the train.
You talked before about the sims that some of the drivers are racing. Don't worry, I'm getting the intel from the great 5-time champ, Dick Johnson. He's telling me that Jet Johnson, who we just saw a shot of before, he's racing on a sim that they had back in 1994. Jet was not even a thought about being on the planet. At that stage, there's the wall. We've claimed another one in the background in the Rondo car. There it is in the background. It's Will Brown who's been involved. So at Montreal, they have the Wall of Champions. At Zolder, we have the jumps.
That's a bit harsh. A much better race for Will, though, because at Bathurst, he did 1 lap and was returned to the pits on his roof, and that was it. Here we go for another replay, and he's just gone a little bit wide in the last corner there, clipped the wall, and around he goes. He'll be making a trip back to the pit lane.
I tell you one guy who's not making a trip to the pit lane. He's pressing on pretty well. He's P2 at the moment. Let's dial in and have a chat to Beebs. James Golding, how you going, mate? P2, but you got to catch that Ash Sutton. He's not helping us here to get a win for Australian drivers or Kiwis.
Yeah, mate, under a bit of pressure here, so I'll just try and hold off this. Oh, no, he's up the inside here. Hang on a minute.
Is that the commentator's curse that's done you in there?
Oh, we'll see. I don't want to let Dylan pass here.
No, block all you like. There you go. Use the bumper. Oh, this is tight. Oh boy. I didn't mean to do it like that, mate.
I think it's time for us to get off this chat.
Yeah. Now I know how the late great Mike Raymond felt with Dick Johnson with that wing broke at Bathurst. We'll get out of this. James Golding was 2nd spot. Oh boy, there was more carnage in the background. Was that Tim Brook heading towards the fence? Let's have a look again here. Hearn had got down the inside and got the job done. And this was on the run through the turn 6 sweeper. He blocked the line up the inside. Golding went back to the mid-track, but that's where Dylan O'Keefe was. And then Hearn was really slow at the midpoint of the corner, and chaos follows. Jay Hansen's involved. The wily Garth Tanner just snuck to the right of everybody.
Ooh, that was Tim McReynolds, I think.
It was. 3-wheeled McReynolds.
Ooh.
Plenty of damage. There's
and
Tim
then
Brook.
Brooksy.
He was in the wall. Hansen's fence as well. So plenty of carnage. And that's changed the order right around because Dylan O'Keefe is through to 2nd. Jaden Ransley's 3rd. And here is James Golding with that Valvoline number 31 car. I feel unbelievably sorry for him having to talk to us when stuff like that's
Ben
going on.
Barguana there.
A little wide where Harley Haber's down the inside. It'll be side by side to the turn 5 chicane, but he's clear and he'll be able to grab that spot.
Nice move there by Harley Haber. Very, very nice and clean. Ben Barguana's doing an amazing job in P8 there. That's a great effort. He must spend a bit more time than Dad on the sim, I reckon. Jordan Cox, we haven't spoken about him too much. Obviously did the championship last year.
Contact in the background there between Harley Haber and Garth Tanner. That's down at the chicane at turn 7. There is Garth recovering in the number 75 J-Mac racing car, but he's losing some spots. That's Jonathan Mykoff down the inside, former and long-time V8 touring car and development series competitor. And there's a bit of damage to that number 75 car of Garth Tanner. He's now back in position number 10. Ash Sutton update, 9.6 seconds in front of Dylan O'Keefe. He will, at this rate, be starting 20th for the next race.
He'll just be having a little cup of tea out the front, just
Biscuit,
cruising.
scone.
Yep. He'll just be having a great old time. Fair bit of damage there on Garth's car. Chelsea Angelo as well. We're just checking in to see how she's going. She's just behind Jet Johnson there and also just in front of Trent Harrison. So not a bad effort. Sticking to the boys, that's for sure.
16th place at the moment for Chelsea, and you'll notice there's no boot on the back of her car. So that's good for lack of drag in a straight line. Not so good for aero around the corners. And she's putting a move on Jet Johnson here down at turn 1. That's for position 15 in this first of 2 races tonight. Hey, thank you to everyone for tuning in. It's great to have so many people who are watching this second round of the carsales ARG eSport Cup. And I know we live in very difficult and strange times at the moment, but it's great for us to go racing in some way, shape or form with 40 drivers from not just around Australia and New Zealand, but around the world as well. So wherever you're watching, thanks for tuning in. We really appreciate you having us with us. Oh, Harley Haber here over the curb, getting right into it with Aaron Cameron. They'll go side by side towards the turn 6 sweeper, but it's the young gun who finished 3rd in the carsales TCR Australia Series last year. Could have been runner-up, but lost it to a bloke sitting next to me. Speaking of losing it, he's around and losing spots.
That was a tough little battle there between 2 boys that had fighting it out really hard. 2 young guns, and as you mentioned, Aaron Cameron, very, very good steerer. Did a great job last year as well. Let's have a look at the replay and what happened there. I think we were sort of 2 into 1, don't really go. Would you say there, Aaron?
I'll say let's have a look here and see what I'm betting that there's a little bit of rub on the way through. Cameron wide, and then bouncing into Haber, who was going around the outside. That's one to look into, I would say.
DSO might have another theory on that one. All right, Timmy Brook there in shot there. How's he going? Let's try and find where he's
P27.
P27, Brooksy, come on, mate.
Well, he's 26 now. I gave
26,
him
okay.
one less. Of course, he raced the Cupra last year in the TCR Australia Series. There's been a few drivers with a bunch of dramas. Chelsea Angelo's had a further drama. We saw the rear of her car gone before. Now the front's got serious damage. Let's have a look on the replay here and get to the bottom of
the car on its roof.
Oh, hooly dooly.
Well, that's Chelsea. That's the replay of Chelsea.
This is how she ended up with so much damage.
Oh, Jet Johnson.
Yeah, hard to know. Here we go. Let's have a look at the Total replay to see what's unfolded here with Chelsea Angelo. This is on the run down to the chicane. Oh no!
Oh,
it's
hit the
old imaginary wall.
God,
Hits you every time, doesn't it? Ash Sutton's lead is now 10.8 seconds over Dylan O'Keefe, and we might dial into our second place car at the moment with Dylan O'Keefe. Hey mate, 11 seconds the margin to Ash Sutton. Do you put up the white flag here and just bring it on home, or are you going to press on?
I think I'll just try and do my own thing. Oh, bloody hell. Jay Hansen's just come out the pits in front of me and spun.
Yeah, we can see that.
Yeah, we just saw that. You were lucky to get away with that.
Oh, far out. Anyway, yeah, just try and hold these guys at bay. I don't seem to be the quickest at this track, so try and get as many points as I can.
You were the man to beat at Bathurst, that's for sure. So, obviously spent a fair bit of time on the sim. Do you like this circuit? What are your thoughts on it?
Simon, AJ.
Yeah, I like the circuit. It's obviously pretty difficult as in getting off tracks and things like that. So, yeah, just trying to be accurate is probably the main thing. Bathurst was quick because I generally suit the fast flowing circuits, and I've done lots of laps around there where this is a new one. So
Yeah.
yeah, it should be a bit of fun though.
How are the tyres holding in at the moment?
Not very good. Lots of on throttle. I'd hate to see the front tyres after this one.
Well, we did say that it was 15 minutes or thereabouts when tyres were going to start to struggle. We'll let you get back to it because Dylan O'Keefe's under fire here from Jaden Ransley. All the best, mate. Good to chat.
Yeah, thanks guys. Talk to you soon.
Good luck.
Love this that we can dial in and out of the cars and speak to the drivers who are in all corners of the country. And in the case of Ash Sutton, he is, I don't even know what time it is in the UK at the moment. I might have to do my clock to see exactly how that time lines up. But here is the fight for second place. We're just gone past the halfway mark of this first race tonight. 2 races. We've got a reverse top 20 grid coming up for race 2 tonight for this second round of the carsales ARG eSport Cup. And I reckon Jaden Ransley here is looking good to have a shot at Dylan O'Keefe as Ben Barguana rejoins at that last chicane. Looks like he got away from the wall and joining the list of luminaries who've tasted it tonight.
So back to the battle here in P2. Quite a bit of pressure on Dylan now. As he was saying, the tyres are starting to go away, so it makes the car much more difficult to drive. You spoke about being really nice and accurate, and when the tyre grip goes away, that becomes much more difficult. So he's got a lot of pressure on him. If he makes one mistake, he's going to lose that position.
Jaden Ransley had a win in the Toyota 86 Series last year, finished 8th in the points. He's on board the Track Tech Kiwi-based squad. He's been a top contender in the Toyota 86 Series in New Zealand.
You can see how much steering lock he's actually having to use through the corner while he's on the gas. That tells me the front tyres are not in very good shape at the moment, put it that way.
I just got a time update, by the way. It's lunchtime in the UK,
right,
and Ash Sutton is eating the opposition alive at the moment because his margin is 13.2 seconds.
Terrible joke.
I'm here all night, ladies and gentlemen. This is good fun. O'Keefe's responded here. He's managed to just get away a little more from the young gun, the Kiwi in that orange and silver machine. We might dial back up to Toowoomba Way. Will Brown, what is going on with your race, my friend? You have had a stinker.
I'm on fire today. Actually, I think I'm literally on fire. But I've got 8 minutes repairs in the pit. So yeah, I thought I'd come on and talk to you guys because we've got a bit of time free.
You do. We've got 12 minutes left in this race, so you're probably going to get out for 4 more laps of racing, and you're going to have to start down the back for the second race. Hey, how serious?
I lost you. What did you say, sorry?
I was going to say, has everyone taken this as seriously as some of the drivers have, or do you think there's a few drivers out there who perhaps are a little cowboy in their approach tonight?
I think I'm about as cowboy as they get with my approach. I've gone pretty bad, but we'll try to come back next one and have another go. My mum just told me I absolutely suck, and I think she actually said it in worse words than that, to tell the truth. So I've been told.
I think Mrs. Brown needs to get behind the wheel for race 2 tonight because
she might as well, mate.
I think she's going to do a better job than you.
I reckon we might throw her in, actually.
Yeah, I think you should. We'll get out of your hair, get that car repaired, and do a couple of laps. Thanks for the chat.
Thank you. Bye.
Will Brown, the car sales TCR Australia Series champ from last year. Braden Wilmington here on board the number 89 car. We're more used to seeing him in recent times in S5000 without a roof, but now he's very much got a roof. Position 15. He's going along really well.
He is going really well, and probably a guy that hasn't spent a lot of time in the sim, but he's been really nice and consistent in this race. It probably stayed out of some of the drama that we've seen along the way. So many crashes, so many pit lane trying to get their cars repaired. So if you hold a steady pace, yeah, you can find yourself in the top half of the field.
Jack Milligan is the driver right behind him at the moment to keep the pressure on. And this is that run down turn 6 towards turn 7. There's Cam Mason in the 133 Brute car.
That's
there he is.
Great looking car, that.
It is. It brings you back to the livery that Alan Moffat ran on the Mustang after the Coke livery, after it raced as a touring car when it ended up in sports today. See a little bit of damage, and we're just coming up to the section of the circuit right here to drivers left right now, where he ended up off the road and in that wall only just. He manages to get through this time, and he sits in position 17. Ash Sutton's lead is 14 seconds, 1-4. He is absolutely driving away with this opening race tonight in round 2 of the car sales ARG eSport Cup. And before this race got underway, there was an online drivers briefing, and it was discussed that they will send out from race control a safety car only if there's a significant issue, a la a big one. And so far we've had a few bumps and scrapes and a few shunts, but nothing that's warranted sending out the safety car to slow down the action.
Yeah, nothing that's actually stopped the cars from circulating on the track. So there is a bit of field spread at the moment. We're seeing difference in speed from experience of drivers that haven't spent a lot of time in the sims, drivers that have been involved in crashes. We've sort of had quite a mixture in this race, but we've had a lot of battles along the way as well. We've got another battle here. Is that Will back out on track, or is that Nathan?
I think it's Nathan Morgan's car.
It looks just as bad as Will's.
Let's have a look on a replay here of a change of position. This is for P3, so this is Nathan Hearn down the inside here, getting a move done on Jaden Ransley, who was tucked in behind that HMO car that was off to the driver's right. So Hearn moves through in the Gulf Western Oils car to position 3. And you can see there the Porsche safety car sitting in the pit lane. Hasn't been able to go on the track, which is good. We want it left in the pit lane. Nick Carroll here in position 5.
He's doing a great job. Nick and James Golden, they spent a lot of time on together. Similar haircut, and that's on the racetrack as well.
You know you're struggling for commentary content when you're going into hairdresser. You know what? It's time for a random Zolder fact now, because I've got a few.
Here we go.
First Grand Prix here for Formula 1, 1973, won by the great Jackie Stewart, the year that he retired from motor racing as a 3-time world champion. And in 1980, 40 years ago, pole position for the Belgian Grand Prix at Zolder, Alan Jones, who went on to finish second and won the World Championship 40 years ago this year. So there'll be a few more of those littered out throughout the course of the evening. Let's talk about some fighting here. Jack Milligan has got by Braden Wilmington, who's trying to get back through down at the turn 5 chicane. Bit of damage to the rear of the Kiwis Audi as they now crest this rise up through the turn 6 sweeper.
Quite a fast little section of the circuit. 5th and 6th gear. Back to 3rd for the chicane though. Really focusing on trying to get a nice exit, especially when the front tyres are so worn. If you try and get in the gas that little bit too early, just drags the front across. So try and be nice and patient, straighten the wheel and get a good drive off the corner, and you'll carry that speed all the way down the straight. And some of the guys that are really, really quick, like an Ash Sutton that's miles down the road, is probably doing that really well.
Just over 7 minutes to go in this first race of 2 tonight with this circuit Zolder, round 2 of the series. And you can see here Aaron Cameron's on the fight back trail with a bit of bump and grind, with Cam Mason on the run towards the final chicane, which by the way is named in honour of the great Jackie X. There's a few corners here named after the greats: Jules Villeneuve, Jackie X, Jochen Rindt, the Austrian Formula 1 world champion as well. And we're looking here at turn 1, which has been reprofiled. It used to be a bit deeper and a bit further around, but it's been brought back to a tighter left-hander in more modern times. Looking back here at a pretty good fight. George Medicki is in that red number 5 car, fighting with Jono Bykoff. And of course, Jono and his dad Shane for so many years ran in the development series and have wheeled out the AU in the Kumo V8 touring car series in the heritage class in recent years. They love their racing, and Jono's really relishing being in this eSport Cup, the Turbo Brisbane livery that they've carried on AU Falcons for many years. This is a little different in terms of the cars and the tracks to what he would be used to racing.
Very different, but it's great to see him back on a racetrack, because I actually remember racing against him in development many, many years ago. And similar to my family, it was a family affair. You know, they're all sort of have that sort of racing heritage. Love going racing together, so it's awesome to see Jonathan back behind the wheel. It might be in virtual land, but he's having a lot of fun along the way.
Mate, a wheel is a wheel. It doesn't matter what sort of wheel it is, virtual or real. Good to be back behind the wheel. Hey, tell you who's a guy who's behind the wheel. We love to hear that he's pedaling around. I can hear his paddles going in the background. Tom Randall's beaming in to have a chat to us as well. Hey, my friend, how you going in this race?
Hey, Noonsy. Look, it's been quite eventful actually. I've managed to get 2 black flags, one for a jump start. I think I was trying to get the handbrake sorted before the start, so it must have thought that was my jump start. So I lost a bit of time there, but yeah, having a ball. You know, it's just great to do some form of racing. And aside from the black flags, it's been great. So I'm looking at the moment. I'm looking forward to starting the reverse grid from 32nd. But look, yeah, we'll see what we can do. It should be a blast, and I'll make sure I don't cop any jump starts next time.
What's the way to start one of these cars? I presume that the second you put it in first gear, it'll start rolling. Is that how do you do this versus how you would start a race car in your normal? Is it the same or different?
Well, I've never started a TCR before, but from the way I understand TCR, they've got a handbrake on board. So I've got a sequential shifter next to me, and I'm actually using that as the handbrake. So what I did, which for some reason the game didn't like, I put it into first gear and I pulled the handbrake and tried to load it up because it's got like an auto clutch enabled. But for some reason that didn't work. But normally in our Dunlop Super 2 car, we have a brake lock button basically, so a brake pressure lock button on the steering wheel, and coming up to the grid. Well, I guess if you're at the front of the grid, you're waiting for longer. So what I normally do is put it back to neutral, then press my foot on the brake, hold this line locker button, and then that allows me to take my foot off the brake, and I can put it back onto the accelerator to try and get the revs up, and I use my other foot to find the bite point. And I'm pretty good at those, but so far I'm not so good at the TCR E-Series starts. So you might have to give me some pointers.
We are on board with you. We're following you around the Zolder circuit.
All right.
That'll shift your way down to this tight turn at turn 8 to bring you back towards the fast sweeper that takes you onto the pit straight. We're doing Zolder trivia tonight, so while you're second, not a danger of winning this motor race, how many times did Zolder host the Belgian Grand Prix? Tom Randall, go.
Oh, I'm going to say 27 times.
10, close. But it was car number 27 that won the final Formula 1 Grand Prix at this place with Michele Alboreto in a Ferrari, so I'll give that to you.
Well, there you go.
Half a point.
Is this also the circuit that Jill Zolder was killed? It was, wasn't it?
Correct.
Yeah.
Absolutely, that's correct. Yeah. So we'll play trivia with a few other drivers later on. You press on. There's a car over there you get to pass for once tonight.
Actually, I haven't moved up. I'm still 32nd, so it's not that positive. But hey, thanks for tuning in, guys, and yeah, looking forward to the next race. Cheers.
There he is. I think they call him the Big Chungus, don't they, Tom Randall?
I'm not sure about that one.
But everyone else does. And let's get back into the car race. The fight for second is on here, and this is a replay of what happened before, just down at turn. That's tight. Turn 7. Nathan Hearn having a big look at Dylan O'Keefe. In fact, that was turn 8, I should say.
So Dylan's doing a great job there. Nathan actually got in front, and then Dylan's got back in front of him again. We're getting down to the last couple of minutes of this race, so it's very crucial for Dylan not to make a mistake and try and hold on to that P2.
Back to the action, and we've had a really good run of this. There's been really good battles. Ash Sutton's lead is 19.5 seconds. He will, at this rate, start from 20th for the reverse grid race that's coming up a little later on tonight for this second round of the carsales ARG eSport Cup. George Badicki here in P8 in a fight with Jono Bykoff. Harley Haber's just behind, and Jordan Cox is just up the road a little bit further on down the hill there. So closing stages of this one, and they're threading their way through a little bit of traffic. That's Peter Hurd in car number 12. He just steps aside and lets everyone get on with their race.
Jordan Cox there in position number 6 for cars as well, and we're talking about him briefly. He's done quite a bit of front-wheel drive racing in his time, not only in this championship, but also in the 2-litre category as well. Saw some awesome footage of him back at Bathurst, throwing his Honda all over the circuit, and he's become a regular at the front of this championship. So he's obviously pretty handy on the sim as well, doing a nice job there in position 6, just behind Nick Carroll.
It's just keeping the numerology working well. Car 6, P6.
Yeah, it makes it easy for us.
For commentators to know who's running where. Here's Harley Haber, Kumo Tyre 21, putting the pressure on Jono Bykoff. So at the moment, in the reverse grid cup, because finishing 20th is the thing you're looking for. Oh, that's a slow-moving car, Jay Hansen there, that they're sneaking on by. Pete, no, that's Jordan Cox. What's going on there?
Oh, commentator's curse.
You again?
Yeah.
That's three tonight. They're gonna pull your microphone out tonight, TD. This is huge drama. Jordan Cox, car 6, was running in P6, and there's a slowdown penalty, so he's cut the track or something's gone there. This is a ripping fight. This is probably the best fight on the track at the time. Harley Haber got the nose in here to try to get to the inside of Jono Bykoff. They're fighting for 6th.
Oh.
He's got the spot. He's got it down the inside. Now can George Mediki jump up in the action and try to fire his way on through? The exit of turn 8 brings them back to the chicane that brings them onto the pit straight. It is the last lap. The clock with 30 minutes has expired for this first race tonight. And Ash Sutton is on his way home with a 20-second margin at the moment. This is the fight for P6 or P14 for the grid for the next race if you want to look at it that way as well.
Ash Sutton's already finished the race. I think he's out of his race soon. Bar.
Well, it's lunchtime, so he's probably cracked a sandwich and a drink already.
These guys are fighting really hard for this, the final lap of this race. Jonathan Beekoff there putting a huge amount of pressure on Haber, who spends a lot of time on the sim as well. George Mediki, he should be too busy to be good on these sims. He's running his dealerships, car dealerships. He's a busy boy. So Ash Sutton there with the Panther Fuels livery, coming up to the back end of the circuit there to finish the race off. Obviously, Panther Fuels are our fuel supplier championship.
And he has lapped half the field. The car in front of him is running in 20th position, Cam Mason. So final turn, checkered flag. You've got to go to the pit wall if you're going to celebrate a win in any racing. And Ash Sutton makes it 2 wins so far from the carsales ARG eSport Cup. It's going to be a real wait for the rest of the field to find their way on through and manage to appear in the background because he was so far in front. Second will be Dylan O'Keefe, who came into tonight second in the points, so that's really handy for him. But the problem is that Nathan Hearn, the points leader, finishes just behind.
Yeah, nice consistent run for those guys. If you can't, oh, gee whiz.
Oh boy.
Which is,
Will Brown just
the boys have
the
just
race.
gone crazy.
A little bit of silly mode. We might head back to the UK. Ash Sutton, 20.7 seconds is the margin. Congratulations, you get to start 20th for the next race.
Sounds amazing, not. Sounds like it's going to be hard work. But yeah, no, look, that was a good race. I think I just managed to keep my nose clean. To be fair, I stayed out of the carnage. But yeah, I nearly got caught out at the start. I nearly got caught out.
It looked like a pretty straightforward race from where we are. Did you get bored at any stage there, Ash? Because, you know, you just cleared out from the rest of the field.
Well, the guys in my Twitch stream managed to keep some entertainment going, so I was getting questions fired my way. But no, look, it was just about keeping it on track. Obviously, not picking up any damage, not hitting any invisible walls.
Yes.
But yeah, no, it was a good race. So looking forward to the
Just
next one.
quickly though, what's your secret here? Because you obviously spend a lot of time on these sims, and you're much faster than some of these other guys here tonight. Can you tell us your little secret? I won't tell anyone.
If I knew the secret, I'd let myself know. But yeah, at the minute, it's just about hooking it up and lighting that wick, shall we say?
Well, you
Ash,
certainly got it hooked up.
Ash, where are you racing from at the moment, mate, for our race? I mean, it's evening here in Australia. Okay, I guess it's lunchtime there. Where are you?
Yeah, so it's just like 12 noon here. So obviously we're just in the back garden. We've got a nice little hideaway at the end of the garden where I've got my sim in my office. So that's where I'm sat at the minute.
Good man, it's working for you. Great to chat to you and all the best in the reverse grid race too.
Yeah, cheers guys. Speak to you soon.
Ash Sutton, the former British touring car champ, the winner of race 1 tonight. Let's go to the Gold Coast. Aaron Seaton is wearing the PJ Sutton helmet tonight. Hey mate, we saw the photo on social. You are going to have to up the game here every week with what outfit you're going to wear.
The pressure's on now. I thought the cardboard cutout was a good little addition. It was quite funny. Have Dad on the camera and got the fake Dad in the photo. It was good.
So, real Dad on camera, fake Dad in cardboard. Hey, is Dad, of course, Glenn Seaton, for those who are following the two-time Australian touring car champ. What's his take on this whole eSport Cup thing?
Oh, he loves it. I think within probably 10 minutes of me entering the series, he'd stop fiddling with the TA2 car and he was straight onto the simulator. He was here for about a few hours trying to work out the pedal box and everything else, so he's loving it.
He's trying to tune it up.
Yeah.
Typical Seato.
Fiddling around with stuff, trying to make stuff go faster. Hey, you're going to start P4 for the reverse grid race, but we saw you in a bit of carnage a bit earlier on. Are you surprised that you ended up where you got to?
Definitely. About halfway through it, was telling me I had wheel damage, but there was no hope I was coming in the pits. So no, I'm thankful to be starting fourth now. So looking forward to it.
We're just watching a little replay there of you going up the backside of one of the Valvoline cars, actually. Putting a little bit of damage on that bonnet. Now, if Glenn had to pay for that damage, he wouldn't be too happy about it.
No, he would not. He'd have to get out the Death Adder. I better not say that's terrible.
He can hear you, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah, he's in the room.
So we've got legends watching everywhere tonight. We've got Glenn with Aaron up on the Gold Coast. Dick Johnson and Steve Johnson are watching on with Jet. There's all sorts of big names keeping an eye out watching tonight. So it's great to have you with us. Tune yourself up. Get ready for this reverse grid race, mate, because actually we need to ask, any snacks between race? Have you got some supplies ready to get yourself for race 2?
Nah, I'm just chewing on the drink straw.
Hey, you're not if you're not chewing on the
I like
drink. Well played. All the best for race 2.
Cheers, thank you.
There he is, Aaron Seaton, beaming in from the Gold Coast. He snuck in a funny one there at the end. I like that.
Very
I like
quick.
that. Hey, let's take a little bit of a break here from round 2 of the carsales ARG eSport Cup from Circuit Zolder. Do you want a Zolder fact? Have we got time for a Zolder fact before we go to a break? Tony, did you know that the Zolder circuit hosted the finish of a stage in the 1981 Tour de France?
No, I didn't know that. Well, I do now, though.
Great year, 1981, by the way. Me born in.
I don't know, mate, because I wasn't born back then. So.
I was. It was also the first year that an Australian, the great Phil Anderson, the yellow jersey in the Tour de France. He finished 10th overall.
A lot of bike riding ones.
We could go all night, but we might take a break here, will we not?
They're trying to wrap you up.
They're trying to wrap me up here, but I've got some really good content to come. Anyway, let's take a break. Round 2 of the carsales ARG eSport Cup. Stay with us. The reverse grid second race is coming up in just a moment.
This is how I'd sell a car. Proper marketing. Put effort into your photos. Value your car appropriately. Like $500, I don't know, take it. I hate it. It's got beautiful signalers. You can put CDs in there. The right pedal goes all the way down. And it's got, it's a gear shift. And it's a stick shift. Sold. Wait, shouldn't this be in the car?
Back with round 2 of the carsales ARG eSport Cup. We are coming to you tonight from the virtual Zolder circuit, and Tony D'Alberto has picked a very bad time to eat a chocolate snack just as we came back from the break.
Well, they said we had 5 minutes until we were back on, so I had a little chocolate clinker, and then they were like, right, we're back on. Anyway, I'm good. Need a little bit of energy for the second race.
Yep, we've got a field of 40 cars. If you've just tuned in tonight, this is round 2 of the 10-week-long carsales ARG eSport Cup. It's time for us to sing happy birthday. Let's beam down to Melbourne. Ben Barguana, happy birthday, your 19th birthday. You get to spend it behind the wheel of a sim, and you kicked your dad out for the night. Well done, my friend.
Yeah, thank you, guys. It is my birthday, and I did kick him out. But that was incredible fun, and I think he's a bit jealous watching behind me, but yeah, no, it's good.
About time you kicked Jace out of the seat. He's had his time, but how are you enjoying the online racing? Are you a big online racer yourself?
Not really. I mean, before this whole thing started, I literally hadn't done a lap on iRacing. And before Bathurst, we got the simulator an hour before, actually probably half an hour before, and that was my first lap turned on iRacing. So not really, but at the moment, I'm absolutely loving it.
Yeah, you're doing a very nice job there for someone who hasn't driven on the sim before, because they are very different, aren't they? They're not as nowhere near as realistic as driving the race car, and you're using different senses to actually feel what the car's doing. Is that probably the trickiest bit that you're trying to adapt to?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you don't have that feeling through your bum, so you lose a lot of the feeling, and you're relying on the pedals and the wheels. So that's one reason why we went with a really good sim, so you can maximise the feeling through the pedals and the steering wheel.
Yeah, okay. That's what a lot of the drivers are feeling themselves. Similar comment there. How's Jace feeling behind the wheel?
Look, he's not up to pace yet, and he's probably in the book, but no, he's all right. He's getting there.
Good stuff. Well, say good day to him for me. Best of luck for the second race. Keep it clean. Make sure you come through the field.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Let's dial in now to HMO Customer Racing's Nathan Moore. Nathan, your car here, there, and everywhere in that first race. Is it repaired and ready to go?
Oh, it definitely was here, there, and everywhere. Looking forward to the second race. Just try to stay out of trouble was the main key, and just stay sharp, hitting all your apexes.
Where are you racing from tonight, mate?
At the HMO workshop in the simulator.
Right among the action. So you've got the race car surrounding you, and you're in the sim in Whangarel.
Yep. Sure am. They're sitting all right behind me with the covers on them. Waiting for the season.
Yeah, we'll get those covers off them soon when we're good to go and get some racing happening again. Hey, you've got a bit of work to do in this final race. What's your plan? How are you going to work your way forward? Is there a part of the track that you're a bit stronger on or weaker on? Scheme of things. We didn't get an idea of how fast you actually were in that lap.
Yeah, I had too much damage. The motor was definitely slow, so all the lap cars were honking on past me, but got to finish the race.
Yeah, obviously you prepare your own cars, the Hyundai in the championship. Are you lucky? Are you sort of happy that you're not paying for some of the damage tonight with all the damage that you guys are copping right now?
Yeah, definitely are. That's for sure. Especially having to be your teammate, Johnny Martin, too.
I thought it might have been Will because there's been a lot of talk, they're going to get each other back, not on track, but on the online. And then when I saw that, I thought you was cleaning him up. But no, it was you.
Yeah, I reckon Johnny seen the HMO car was like, yep. Nail him. Wrong one.
Hey, we'll let you go, Nathan. Good to catch up with you and chat. Look after yourself. All the best and get among it in this final race.
No worries. Okay, take it easy.
Good to chat to him there, Nathan Morecambe beaming in. We're not far away, TD, from the second race, and we're going to top 20 on the grid. So 20th goes to pole, pole goes to 20th, 21st can sit there and be miserable because they're going to be 21st. Garth Tanner was in a little bit of action earlier on. He is Performance Centre workshop this evening on their sim. Have you got me there, GT?
Loud and clear.
Good to chat to you, my friend. There was a bit going on in that last race. The left front of your car's a bit whacked up. Who was to blame for that one?
I don't know, mate. There was
it wouldn't have been
a big
Garth.
shunt coming out of the hairpin. And thank you, Tony. And and yeah, they all came onto the track, and I think it was dangerous re-entry.
Have you put in a complaint to race control?
No, mate. I virtually did, but it doesn't really bother me that much.
It virtually doesn't bother you. Are you enjoying yourself with this stuff, mate? I mean, this is obviously we're in different times at the moment here in the world. We're not.
Yes, mate. I am. Yeah, I'm enjoying it. It's a challenge. It's definitely a challenge. I've got in my other ear, I've got race control and Will Brown whinging about something. So
yeah, that's pretty standard.
Yeah, it is standard. He does a lot of chat through the race.
Well, he had time to. He was in the pits for about 10 minutes because he had plenty of repair to be done. So
I'm surprised he didn't race up and jump in the commentary box.
Well, we've actually got him kicked out, and his mum's going to drive his car for. Let's get ready for a race start here, TD. Field is getting set for race 2, round 2 of the carsales ARG eSport Cup. Let's zero in and get ourselves channeled into this Zolder circuit. Here's the grid. Aaron Cameron and Cam Mason on the front row. Tim Macro and Aaron Seaton next from Tim McReynolds, Braden Wilmington, Jack Milligan, Garth Tanner, who we just spoke to, starts from 8th. Michael Clemente, 9th, and Trent Harrison rounds out the top 10. So full reverse of the front half of the field. Ben Barguana was in the middle of that 20, so he stays there. Jordan Cox, George Mediki, John O'Bykoff, Harley Haber, Nick Carroll, Jaden Ransley, Nathan Hearn, Dylan O'Keefe, winner of the first race, Ash Sutton, starts from P20.
Yeah, this is where it's going to be amazing to see. We've really got championship drivers that are even further back from 20th. So some of these drivers that might not be actually be able to do a lap in qualifying. And away we go. We're off the start line there. Michael Clemente got a fantastic start.
It's Aaron Cameron with the best start, though, of all of them. That GRM Valvoline car, Ash Sutton, the race 1 winner's been turned. The Panther 116 car is in the fence before he's even made it to turn 1. And Tim Brook there in the background off to driver's left. There's another car involved in the sand trap at turn 1. So our race 1 winner, Ash Sutton, who was 3rd in the points coming into tonight, off the road, down the back of the pack with a whole pile of work to do. There he is. He's only just got to turn 2.
He might actually have to try in this race to try and get himself back to the
He's
front.
going to have to try very hard because it's a shorter race, TD. It's a 15-minute race versus the half hour that we had before. It's willing on this opening lap as they fire down into this turn 5 chicane, keeping the pressure on behind Trent Harrison up the hill on this first lap. More cars around. That's Braden Wilmington getting involved on the crest of the hill. Plenty of debris, and there is Wilmington on the other side, peeling his way out of the fence and getting going again. That's Aaron Seaton off again. Jet Johnson charging out through the grass. Oh boy, this is carnage central. Jack Milligan manages to escape the middle of the road, and this is for the lead. That was Aaron Cameron running wide. And was that Tim Macro who was trying to get down the inside? Tander is through to the lead. That's a re-entry that's not going to work. Cars going every which way, and through it all, the JMX 75 car, Garth Tanner takes the lead. There was contact with Aaron Cameron down at turn 9. Let's have a look on the Total replay. This is coming out of the chicane. That's Mason Seaton having a spin in the background. And we will see a run here from, Cameron I think's ended up a little wide here, and he's got a big run on him coming down towards the turn 7 chicane. Down the inside. Touching him on the way through, but too quick.
Way too deep, yeah. He's outbraked himself there, found the fence, but then he's caused mayhem from cars behind.
Ben Barguana in the Belgium
circuit.
Car. He was one of them.
That was chaos, Noons.
Yeah, they're coming from absolutely everywhere, and I think that's Jet Johnson involved in the background there, parked up as well. So it's caught out plenty of drivers. It's left Garth Tanner in the lead of the race from Aaron Cameron, Jordan Cox, Cam Mason, and Nick Carroll. That's the way they run at the moment. And watch for Ash Sutton. Can he come back through the field? He's 28th at the moment, the race 1 winner. This is the fight for the lead between Tander and Cameron. Stablemates at Melbourne Performance Centre last year.
Yep.
Briefly. This year, of course. Oh, that's not one of theirs, that's for sure. And Aaron Cameron made the move this year to Gary Rogers Motorsport, and will be behind the wheel of a Peugeot.
So those guys have actually skipped away just a little bit at the front there. They've had a nice clean run. My interest will be with Ash Sutton at the back there. See whether he can come through the field. That will really show how fast he can be, how he can look after his tyres and manage the traffic coming back through.
Question probably is, we need to see a shot to know what sort of damage the Panther Fuels 116 car has got. Here is third, that's Jordan Cox, car 6. Nick Carroll in the blue cars next. Then it's Dylan O'Keefe. Fight here with Ben McMillan and John O'Bycoff. Tim Brook just behind in the Morris Finance 64 car. And McMillan's keen to get down the inside, but there's a car rejoining and contact with Bycoff, who is off in the scenery at turn 2.
Lost a couple of wheels there. That's a decent old hit. Dylan O'Keefe, though, he's come all the way from P19 to position 5 now. That's pretty damn good in a couple of laps.
I think I'd have to agree with you. Here is Dylan O'Keefe in car 33. Being trailed in the Michelin car by Ben McMillan as they work their way through the chicane at turn 5. Shorter race for this one. Just under 11 minutes on the clock in this reverse grid. It's the second race of the second round of our car sales ARG eSport Cup. We'll be going for 10 weeks with this series, so plenty of time to earn back some points. And here is Ash Sutton, who is on an earn back mission at the moment. He's 23rd at the moment, but he's starting to make some ground, pass some cars and get some points back.
Yeah, he certainly is. He's on a massive recovery mission, but if the second race is anything like the first one, Anna crashes, cars that end up in pit lane after making mistakes, especially once those tyres start to go away, Ash knows how to look after those tyres. So we'll see him get through quite a few cars very quickly. Whether he can catch the front group, not too sure. Those guys might clear away by then.
Chelsea Angelo here in the Astron Tech number 2 car. Plenty of damage in the last race that saw her benched in the pit lane there with some repairs to be done. But it's Garth Tanner leading away. 3/4 of a second back to Aaron Cameron. Jordan Cox is next as Aaron Seaton comes under fire here from Nathan Hearn in the Gulf Western Oils car. He's working his way through. He's up to 12th. So remember, he started position 18, wasn't it, for this one, having finished 3rd in the first race earlier on this evening. So you can see that the fast cars, now that the field is spread out, can now pick their battles and start to work their way forward, but there's not much time. 9.5 minutes left to go in this second race of the evening. Aaron Seaton a little bit wide there, just got the curb on the way in that unsettled the car on the exit, and that's opened up an opportunity for that run down the outside. That's James Golding in the Valvoline car, who's going the long way there and not going to get it done. Let's not talk to James Golding in this race, because the last race we did it, and it all went wrong.
Yeah, the commentators cursed everyone we spoke to, then made a mistake.
Commentator. It was you, not me. Don't drag me into your drama.
I blame it on how difficult these sims are actually to race.
Stan Van Oort here, the Dutchman, he has raced at the real Zolder before. He's one of, I think, only 2 drivers in this field tonight who've actually done laps around this venue. That's the unit clothing car up in front that he's trying to get a move on, and in fact he gets a move on it. The track tech entry goes on by.
Quite an aggressive move there.
And that was on Jason Gomersall, the TCM racer, who he's not in his Tirana tonight. He can't whack back because the TCM car's a bit more bulky. Tell you what, he's brave here with Aaron Seaton going side by side through that final chicane. They got away with it. And Golding now stands to gain, sneaking down the inside as, oh no, this has been gone. Contact between Seaton and Golding, and they are on the outskirts of the top 10. They'll get rolling, but that will put them down the order.
That was an interesting move there. A very aggressive move by James Golding. Need to have a look at a little bit of a replay there. Here we go.
Ask and you shall receive.
James got a really good run through the last couple of corners, and Aaron didn't get a very good run. He's tried to go down the inside, clip wheels. Okay, so that's what sent him to Aaron and created that big mess.
There was road there to squeeze through, but not much extra beyond the width of an Audi RS3 LS, and there's contact between those two as Golding limping with damage to that Valvoline number 31. But it's a former Valvoline driver out in front. Garth Tanner leads by 1.6 seconds back to Aaron Cameron. Let's pick up the leader. Here he is on the exit of turn 9, working his way towards that final fast chicane, and he's got a bit of traffic ahead to contend with, which you wouldn't expect to play within about 7 minutes of racing. That's Jet Johnson, I think, going off to pit lane. But the big man, the multiple Bathurst 1000 champ, the 2007 Supercars champion, he's driven the real deal of these Audis over the last 12 months, and he's doing the job here tonight as well.
Yeah, I think he's got a little bit of an advantage on the whole field to be spent more out in else. So does that give him an advantage, Nudes?
No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, fair enough. Maybe I'm clutching at straws. He's doing a nice little job there out in the lead. Probably surprising himself, to be honest, because he doesn't spend a lot of time in the sim. We spoke about before how he's been doing a little bit this year when NPC had got their amazing sim from SimWorks. He's been playing on it quite a bit, getting quite a bit of an advantage out of it, and seeing what the tool that a sim really is for these drivers.
Here's the fight for second place. Aaron Cameron under fire from Jordan Cox, GRM squad members. We might jump on the line to Nick Carroll, who has been doing a bit of Trans Am racing in recent Kumo V8 touring cars recently as well. Nick, you're travelling along here pretty well here, mate. P4, but that podium top 3's just out of your reach at the moment.
Yeah, going along okay. I had to slow down to lap 4, but the pace seems pretty good, so I'll just keep pushing and hopefully can get on the back of the 2 in front.
Why did you get a slowdown? What did you do wrong?
I just cut the curb accidentally.
Oh, accidentally? Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Right.
I've received my punishment for it.
Now, nice job, Nick. You're doing a very good job there, especially in race 1 and now race 2 to get yourself back into that sort of top 5. Really good points so far this round.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
That was the way that a driver says, go away and leave us alone. We'll go away and leave. Fight going on up in front of you for second place. Aaron Cameron slipping down the inside, and now Jordan Cox. He's going to try the old go in wide at 2, dive it back down the inside and get a run towards turn 3. He's not close enough to fill the margin here. This is the right-hand sweeper that takes them onto a flat chat section at turn 4, and then they get onto this long run down the back straight before the chicane, and he's not close enough to get closer to try to launch a move, but he is within striking distance here. Cameron's going to make it difficult here, just sits in that middle of the road for just a moment to make him think about it. Just under 5 minutes to go. Timed second race on this virtual Zolder circuit here, and they climb this long sweeper at turn 6. Tander's gone 3.5 seconds down the road. He's out of shot. If these two muck up, Nick Carroll is on for a top 3.
Yeah, without a doubt there. These guys are actually teammates at Gary Rogers Motorsport.
It's out the window tonight, my
It
friend.
is out the window, but they know each other really well. And they're so close here, setting themselves up for a nice little maneuver. Cox trying to go around the outside. I don't think that's going to work. Aaron Cameron had it well covered there. And Nick Carroll now is right into the battle.
What did I say? If these two have a drama, they're battling, they're fighting, they're not taking the track position that they normally would want to be doing. We're on board with Nick Carroll into this left, right. I love this sequence. If you've never watched racing from Zolder, that's the version of this track that you would really like to be on. Champ Car raced here back in 2007. And
Another fact.
Time for another Zolder fact. It's one of only 3 tracks to be on the Formula One World Championship calendar that start with the letter Z. The others are Zandvoort and Zeltweg. Have a look at this. Cox down the inside. Turn 2. Trying to get in the gap. There's a little bit of a touch. Look for Carroll. He will get in the mix here and follow him through. So change for 2nd and 3rd spot. Aaron Cameron dumped back to 4th. And Carroll has designs for 2nd. He's down the inside and there's contact with the internet sensation. Jordan Cox out wide through the sand. Gets going again. Now he's vulnerable to Dylan O'Keefe. And the banging match is going on. Carroll and Cameron. 2nd place on the line. Chicane awaits. Carroll has the inside. Cameron doesn't bother with the chicane. Cuts it, drives on through. Surely you can't be doing that.
Surely he's going to get a little bit of a time penalty for that one. But they were side by side. So sometimes a little bit of leniency when drivers are fighting this hard.
Spoken like a racing driver, Tony D'Alberto. Now Carroll trying to get to the on the exit of the chicane. They sneak their way back through turn 8. And then this next turn, turn 9's much tighter. This is where there was that carnage on the opening lap tonight for this reverse grid race. This is allowing Tanner to absolutely check out. 6 seconds now down the road as this 4-way fight for 2nd place is flying. 2.5 minutes to go. Ash Sutton update. Are you ready?
Yep.
P15. He's managed to fight his way back up the order, but he's not got a car within reach of him for quite some time now. This fight for 2nd. It's brewing, and I sense that there's going to be some drama in the last 2 minutes of this race.
These guys are fighting really, really hard, and I know these guys really guys that do have a massive crack. So I reckon there's going to be probably a shunt before the end of the race, to be honest.
I reckon it's a safe bet. They're pedaling their way through turn 2 at the moment. That's Cameron around the outside of Nick Carroll. Look for Cox to try to fill the gap, and Dylan O'Keefe is right behind them as well.
This is great racing. This is really, really good. This is what we want to try.
Don't jinx it, mate.
Yeah,
Whatever
well,
you do. Your
I'll
form
try not
tonight
to.
is not solid, I've got to tell you. The run down towards the chicane at turn 5, the clean chicane. And Cameron just showing the nose on the run in to try to unsettle Nick Carroll as they bounce over those curbs and fire back up the hill and over the other side. This track is 60 k's northeast of Brussels. If you're heading to Belgium, down the track when we can get on planes and go to places, faraway lands in the future. Hey, I love this. This is a really good fight. These guys are all so close and there's not much in it. Carroll's been able to get away and it's really hard to see. But at the back of the queue, that's Ben McMillan in the Michelin car. He's joining in the fight as well.
Ben is absolutely caught up to the group there and decided to put a bit of pressure on this group. He could actually, if he plays his cards right, get himself into podium position there. So I know Ben spends quite a bit of time on these sims, all the time, to be honest. So he's doing a great little job there, keeping up with these regular race drivers. Ben's obviously doing quite a bit of karting, but hasn't done much in actually sedan racing.
Next round, next week for the carsales ARG eSports Cup takes us to Watkins Glen in the United States of America. Of course, NASCAR circuit, IndyCar circuit, sports car venue, one of the classic road racing courses of world motorsport. We're counting down the clock for this one, though, from Zolder. It's great to have so many of you with us. This guy's not been with us in this race. Garth Tanner has done a mini Ash Sutton. He hasn't snuck away by as many seconds, but he's had a very lonely time of this one, and you know what? He'll be totally fine.
Yeah, a lonely race out in front is a race, I reckon. Getting back to the battle here with Nick Carroll in position 2, Aaron Cameron putting a huge amount of pressure on, and Jordan Cox, Dylan O'Keefe, Ben McMillan, Tim Brook not too far away either, but probably just out of reach of this little group here. Ooh, Aaron Cameron, he's under a lot of pressure there.
It's Jordan Cox who's keeping that pressure up in that number 6 car. This is for the 3rd place in this second race. Our reverse grid, we took the top 20 and we flipped them around. The clock has struck 0, so Garth Tanner's on his way home to take the checkered flag. It's not over yet. Cameron's a little bit wide on the exit of turn 9, and it's all a case now of staying flat throttle to this turn. Turn 10 through the chicane. Tanner out front. He has got them absolutely smoked. And that's Nick Carroll charging on through.
Oh.
That's Cox sideways in the background. That's not the fast way, that's the slow way.
Ben McMillan grabs a position there.
And that is job done. So it's Tander with the win by 4.7 seconds. Carroll got second. And that last chicane, he came bursting into view, and I reckon he didn't back off there at all, and maybe cut a little bit of the scenery to do so. O'Keefe third, Cameron next for McMillan. Cox got pushed back to P6, but it's Garth Tanner who picks up the win in the second race in round 2 of the carsales ARG eSports Cup. And we might dial on into a very happy, I'm sure, race winner, G. Tander.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, I've got to get that on the CV. My first E-Series race win. So, yeah, it was good. Obviously, first lap there was a bit going on, but then got to the lead. And I think the trick in this stuff is just staying out of trouble as much as you can. And, yeah, once I got to the lead, I just tried to pull a gap, and I could see they were battling behind me. So it's just like normal, put your head down, pull a gap.
Who did what to who down on that first lap? I think it was turn 8 down the inside there, where there's a lunge on Aaron Cameron that didn't work out, and that carried the pair of cars wide, and you just sailed on through.
Yeah, I don't know who it was, but there was something going on down at down at the hairpin, like you said. And the biggest challenge is actually dodging them when they come back onto the track. So I just wanted to do that without damaging the car, and then got the lead. So yeah, it was good.
You certainly did that. The car doesn't have a scratch on it. Garth, do you have any champagne to spray in the cockpit there?
Sorry, what was that? Will was just trying to trash talk me on the other channel.
just asking if you got any champagne to spray.
Yeah, no, funny that I don't have any on hand. Yeah, I wasn't presumptuous enough to have a bottle of champagne ready to go.
Next venue next week, Watkins Glen. Sound good?
Yeah, sounds good. What cars are we in?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Well, either way, I'll have to go learn the track. I had to learn this one. I'd heard of Zolder, but I'd never driven around it, so I'll have to learn Watkins Glen.
No,
F3. Okay. Can Leanne do it if it's F3?
No, it's not F3. It's in the Audi again.
Oh, okay. Then I'll do it.
All right.
All right, we'll let you go. Well done. Good stuff, Garth Tanner, based at Melbourne Performance Centre tonight. You can knock off and head home.
Cheers, boys. Thanks.
There is Garth Tanner, the winner of race 2, round 2. Let's dial our way up to the man who's been trying to trash talk our race winner, Will Brown. Who are you still trying to finish this race, or what?
Yeah, I was in a serious battle.
What, for 28th?
No, for 33rd. I was actually trying really hard then, and some guy ran off on the last corner and decided to rejoin and just absolutely T-boned me. So that was when I was like in 20th. So a bit disappointing, but it's a bit of fun.
You're having a bit more fun in this race. You actually laps. So now you've actually finished a race. What are your thoughts on this online racing, mate?
Yeah, it's a bit of fun. Obviously, some people are pretty serious and been putting in some hours, so they're really enjoying it. Garth was obviously quick, but I just don't have the pace. But I had a lot of fun, actually. It's enjoying, and also keeps you mentally thinking about what you got to do in the car. So I'm enjoying that side of it, but I'm just slow.
Are you enjoying the fact that you can trash talk your opposition, which you can't normally do when you're out there racing?
Yeah, it's so much fun, but nobody wants to talk to me. I lay some trash on someone and they just don't get a reply. I'm not sure if they're hating on me or what.
All right, you've got a week before we have the third round of this series, which is going to be the Watkins Glen circuit. So go and do some testing up there in Toowoomba and get yourself in the game, and we'll dial in with you again next week.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
There he is, Will Brown. Let's recap the top 10 in round 2, race 2 of the carsales ARG eSport Cup from Zolder tonight. It's been a pile of fun. I didn't get through all of my Zolder track facts, Tony, so I'll save some up for later and we can do them another week and another time. So Garth Tanner's the winner tonight in race 2 from Nick Carroll. Dylan O'Keefe next from Ben McMillan, who managed to pick up 4th on the run to the line. Jordan Cox next from Tim Brook. Then Chelsea Angelo, Stan Van Ord, Jason Gomersall, and Ben Bargwana rounded out the top 10. That was good fun. I thoroughly enjoyed that. How about you?
Yeah, definitely the second race there with that battle pack that we sort of followed for probably 2/3 of the race. They were having a big crack, lots of passing. That's all the sort of stuff that we want to see racing. While we don't have any racing going on, this gets the juices flowing and get us thinking about motorsport and loving the passion that we have for it.
That's Tony D'Alberto. I'm Aaron Noonan. Thank you very much for joining us wherever you've tuned in tonight to take in round 2, race 1 and 2 of the carsales ARG eSport Cup. Thanks for being with us, and we'll join you again next week.
This is how I'd sell a car. Proper marketing. Put effort into your photos. Value your car appropriately. Like $500, I don't know, take it. I hate it. It's got beautiful signalers. You can put CDs in there. The right pedal goes all the way down. And it's got, it's a gear shift. And it's a stick shift. Sold. Wait, shouldn't this be in the car?